Welcome back to Hey Kentucky. Now, last week, Ricky Jones here was approved for the Police Oversight Panel in Louisville after a great deal of controversy. It was an 11-8 vote by the Louisville Metro City Council. And Ricky, this ended up being a big issue. You came on and talked about it. In the end, they approved it. What do you think ultimately was behind all of this, and did you expect it to be like this?
What do you think was behind it? You look at this panel, it's a very weak panel. Has no ability to hire, fire, subpoena power, any of these things.
Then why do you want to be on it?
It's just an advisory panel, okay? It's just an advisory panel. So when you really dig to the core of it and you understand that the panel has very little power, what was the problem for people like Dave Mutchler, Julie Denton, and some other politicians in Louisville?
Do you think it was personal?
I think, here's what I think. I think people in the country, in the state, and certainly in Louisville also, have preference. They're very comfortable with certain safer minorities. People who go along to get along, will not speak their mind, basically live in fear. And I'm not that type of guy. You can agree with me or not, man, but what people know is I'm not gonna cower and I'm not gonna lie to them. I'm not going to do
I agree with that.
You know?
Now, Brent Ackerson, who's a Democrat who's on the city council, sort of out of nowhere at the thing said that he thought you weren't a good representative and sort of suggested that you weren't the kind of person that should be on there. Did that surprise you?
I don't know Brent Ackerson. I wasn't surprised because people seem to think that folks who have problems with racial insensitivity and misunderstanding of culture are limited to the Republican Party. They are not. And Brent Ackerson put that on full display last Thursday. He parroted everything, every offensive, racially insensitive thing that Dave Mutchler and Julie Denton had said previously. You know, but I've been called every name in the book over the last couple of weeks, man.
You have.
I mean, they've called me partial, biased, juvenile, ill-tempered, unqualified. And of course, because I say that racism still exists, about every 30 minutes, somebody in the state calls me a racist. And when I fight back, and tell them what I think about them, then people like Brent Ackerson says, well, he's not qualified because he engages in name calling. It's a weird double standard, and I think, you know.
I noticed when the final vote came, it was 11-8, and then there were like 7 people, and I'll note all Democrats, who didn't vote at all. To me, that's the weakest. Like the idea that you're there and you don't vote. What do you think was behind that?
Well, some were there and some were not. And you'll have to ask them what was behind that for them, Matt. You know, I think last week was a victory for dignity, for decency, democracy, good police, and the truth.
You mentioned good police.
Yes.
You've been very adamant that you believe you are a friend of good police. You've showed pictures of you with various police officers. How do you make that distinction between good police and the police you do not believe?
Look across this country, people who are engaging in bad kills. I pointed out a whole lot of different scenarios, like Tulsa, where the woman shoots the unarmed man down on the highway. New York, where an unarmed man is choked to death. Cleveland, where a 12-year-old child is killed. That's bad policing. I don't care what anybody says. So Dave Mutchler, you know, the president of the Fraternal Order of Police, has really tried to paint this narrative like all police support him. They do not. You would be.
Have you gotten support from police?
Oh my God, you would be shocked by how many police came up to me during Derby, and I forget the number because I was drunk most of the time, and said, I really do appreciate what you're doing and I support you. So good police, I love them, I support them as most of us do, but bad police, I do not.
Last question, we just got a second. Do you plan on making this board a more powerful board now that you've sort of fought to be on it?
Look, man, I think that you are a poor board member if you don't fight to make any board that you're on more powerful. And the last thing for the people who oppose me, I think these people were Mike Tyson types of people. You remember Mike Tyson had everybody afraid and they walk into the ring and the fight was over before it started? I was just Evander Holyfield, who grew up in my housing projects in Atlanta. I fought back and their feelings got a little bit hurt. So we'll see what we do as we move forward.
Ricky Jones.
And thank you to the people of Kentucky and the people of Louisville.
There you go.
They were very
Ricky Jones,
supportive.
thank you for coming on.